Hey, comic book fans, my nerdy friends, and my geeky compadres, what's going on? I'm back here with another trade review for you. This one, I kind of put out on Twitter, what would you like me to review out of the books that I got for Christmas, if you watched that video. And Sarah Smash had suggested that I review this book. So I read most of it yesterday, finished it up today. And here we go, Superman Red Sun. Alright, so the premise of this Superman story is instead of landing in Kansas when his ship crashed, it landed in Soviet Russia. In the farmlands of Soviet Russia, he grows up, starts learning his powers, and goes to the big city and gets kind of put under the wing of the communist leaders, really. So there's a whole lot of story in here involving Superman just kind of it's supposed to be him fighting for communism, and you're supposed to feel like he's doing right. But there's this feeling that I got from it, which I'm not sure if it's intentional, but I'm pretty sure it is, that you're supposed to feel like Superman is just doing it to save the human race or whatever. And throughout the story, Lex Luthor is in it, who is married to Lois, which was kind of funny because you go back and forth between her being called Lois Lane and her being called Lois Luthor. Kind of funny. So there's this battle between Lex Luthor and Superman. Also, there's this... Oh, gosh. It's easy to explain, but it's hard to explain at the same time. Because there's a lot that actually happens in this. Superman comes to power. In Russia, there's a resistance because he's pretty much taking over the whole world. I got a feeling that the Injustice Gods Among Us title kind of took a little from this book, because he's trying to make the world one big Soviet Union, and Lex Luthor is trying to stop him. Batman is in this, kind of leading a resistance against Superman in Russia. There's a Wonder Woman's in this, and fighting with Superman for Soviet Russia, really. Lex Luthor develops the Green Lantern Corps, or the Green Lantern Marine Corps, he calls it, to fight Superman. You also have like Bizarro and Brainiac. Doomsday is in here. There's a lot of Superman legacy in here that, like, if you know enough about Superman, you'll catch these little like details that are in here that you're like, okay. And in that aspect, this was really good. I actually really did enjoy this story. But like, I wish I hadn't have read Injustice: Gods Among Us before I read this, because I feel like it got just too much. I feel like Injustice pulled too much of their story out of this story. Just with the Superman kind of taking over the world and like for the good of the world, but then there being a resistance. The ending of this, while not surprising, there were some very cool things at the very end that I don't want to spoil, because if you haven't read it, it's kind of something that you're like, wow, at the end. But if you have read it, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. It's just the last like 5 pages of like the way the world ends up at the end. I thought it was really, really kind of cool. It's not gotten me to the point where I'm like, oh, I want to go check out every single Superman book ever. It's not that kind of story. It was still really good. I'm glad I have this. I'm glad that I've read it. I might even read it again eventually. But it was kind of neat. As far as like being a completely different kind of Superman story, I didn't feel that way. It seemed that him landing in Russia as opposed to Kansas didn't really change who he was that much. I mean, he in the beginning of the book, he was fighting for the working man, and it just seemed like he was the same guy, just thrown into a different position, really. And like I said, I think that might have been intentional, to not change his character all that much. Going into it, I kind of wished they would have done something completely crazy and changed him. But then, I don't know. I guess for people that are like diehard Superman fans, they wouldn't want that kind of thing, and I get that. And you know, DC's still got to make money off of their main character, really. But overall, I'd say the book was good. It was enjoyable, and at the end, I was just kind of like, I got the payoff I wanted, although like I didn't expect it, so that was kind of cool. So overall, I'd say Superman Red Sun is actually probably like people really need to read it. It's a definite read, I think. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that was my review for Superman Red Sun. I left a whole lot out of the story intentionally, just in case people hadn't read it. Because I think you should, if you get the chance, pick it up, give it a read. It's worth it. It's a Superman story that's worth it. And how often are you going to hear that coming out of my lips? Not very often, I'm sure. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.